Guys, we are on a quest to beat every English PS1 game that was ever made. That's right, every last one of them. From the fan favorites like Crash Bandicoot and Resident Evil, to the Disney releases like Hercules and Monsters Inc. Yes, we're even going to play that too. This journey will be hard and long. Oh, wait, I didn't mean it like that. The path to completion will be firm and massive. I hope you can join us on this epic journey as we monitor stress levels and lock in for an intense ride to a PS1 completionist. Game number 2 is going to be WWF SmackDown. WWF SmackDown was released on March 2nd, the year 2000, and the PS1 was the lone console it was released on. It was developed by a Japanese gaming company called Yuke's, and it was published by THQ, a company responsible for publishing a load of games in the early 2000s. I remember playing this game a lot in my childhood days, and this was really the first wrestling game I'd ever played. I remember acting like The Rock and grabbing something that resembled a microphone and cutting a sick promo like he used to do back in the day. Also, I used to pretend to be like the Rattlesnake Stone Cold Steve Austin and go around the house flipping people off. Just kidding. Wait. Before we start, can we just... gets me every time. When you load into the game, it greets you to a game intro video that shows off all the superstars that are going to be in the game. I'm not going to lie though, audio for this game when you first load it up was super loud and I think my ears were ringing when the video concluded. Nevertheless though, when the video was over, it brought us to a nice SmackDown start screen. Now this game has a season mode, and in that season mode all you do is compete in matches month in and month out for a whole year. But you never really achieve anything, and it's just a repetitive process that had you fighting year after year in a circle basically. So instead of playing the season mode, the way we would beat this game would be winning every match the game had to offer, and the opponents I would be facing would be at random. Match number 1 is going to be a regular singles match. The superstar I'd be playing with would be Triple H. The way I would select my opponents at random would be by closing my eyes and just holding the joystick down for a few seconds, then releasing it, kinda like I would back in the year 2000. The opponent I landed on was The Godfather, and the match was set. These entrances were something to give a laugh to. I can hear Vince McMahon now telling the developers to make sure the superstars are buff and muscular like in real life, to give them that intimidating look, when in reality the game makes them look like they were carved from a bowl of mashed potatoes. Anyways, we made it to the ring, and it was action time. It took me a second to get the hang of it because it was probably 20 plus years since I'd played this game, and it showed because the Godfather really stuck it to me in the beginning of this match. He hit counter after counter, blocking my attacks, and this made me deeply annoyed. Hey, I thought chokeholds were illegal. I hit him with a few body drops and a back body drop. I also smacked him so hard he did a front flip. All of a sudden X-Pac came running down the ramp to interfere in the match. He actually grabbed the Godfather and hit him with one of his finishing moves. I was just relieved it wasn't me he did it to. Once you hit enough moves to get your finishing bar full, the game gets you a chance to hit your signature finishing move on your opponent. After a few back and forth moves to each other, I finally hit the Godfather with a pedigree and got a knockout victory. Match number 2 is going to be a tag team match. The superstar I'm going to use this time will be The Undertaker. My teammate it randomly landed on was Ken Shamrock, and the opponents it landed on was D'Lo Brown and Billy Gunn. I told Ken Shamrock I could handle this and let him know that I would be starting this match. D'Lo Brown started for their team and he really started giving me the business. Soon after though, I recovered and D'Lo tagged in Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn hit me with a few moves and tried to get a quick pin on me, but Ken Shamrock said he wasn't having it. I tagged him in since he made the save but realized that he wasn't going to be much help, so I told him to tag me back in. And with a dominating second half of the match, I hit Billy Gunn with 2 tombstone piledrivers and the match was over with our hands being raised in victory. Match number 3 was going to be a handicap match, and I knew this was going to be the most difficult by far. And I knew who it was time for.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
That's right, it was time for the jabroni beating, pie eating, trail blazing, eyebrow raising, son of a gun, The Rock. I knew this match would be hard because I was going to be alone in the ring with 2 other opponents, and those opponents would happen to be Matt Hardy and the Big Red Machine Kane. Man, in the beginning of this match, I was really getting bullied by these two. They were hitting me with body drops, punching me while I was down, throwing me back to the ground. Suddenly, Matt Hardy, though, thought it was a good idea to go outside the ring and start dancing like he was a crazy man or something. I was honestly confused to why he was doing this. Soon after, though, he returned to the ring and began to bully me again. I did all I could to fend off both attacks, and the only hope I could hope for would be a knockout win instead of a pinfall decision. I lined up for a people's elbow and honestly got lucky. In the game, if somebody has a running finisher, or a finisher where you don't physically hold on to your opponent, then somebody can stop you mid-move. Matt Hardy just sat there and watched me do it and gave no attempt to stop it. I'm not going to complain though, because I got the W. A Battle Royale was set for match 4, and in the Battle Royale everyone is eliminated via pinfall or submission until a winner is crowned. Huh, who knew that WWE was the first inventor of a Battle Royale mode? It was time for the Rattlesnake Stone Cold Steve Austin as my superstar, and we would face Test, Christian, and Road Dogg Jesse James. Knockouts in this mode were super easy, and after a strong start I hit Christian with a stunner, leading to his elimination. After that though, Road Dogg was doing loads of damage to Test and he built up his finisher bar. I knew that I had to keep my distance so that I wouldn't become a victim and get eliminated. Road Dogg eventually hit his finisher on Test, and then Road Dogg and I were the only two left in the match. Road Dogg tried to hit me with a sneaky roll-up pin, and I knew that wasn't going to work. And in return, I gave him a bone-crushing stunner that gave me the W and sent him packing. Match number 5 was going to be the Royal Rumble match, and I knew that this was going to be really hard because I remember it being really easy to get eliminated in the match. And I was right. So what I did was, instead of doing a 30-man Royal Rumble, I went with 15 because you had to start at the number 1 position no matter what. I went back with The Rock again for this one, and we went with a bunch of random competitors for the other 15 superstars. Having to come out first though, I knew this was going to be a crazy difficult task, but I was up for the challenge. I was confused to why 4 people would start the match in the ring together because normally it was supposed to be 2. But anyways, the purpose of the Royal Rumble match is to throw your opponent over the top rope with 2 feet touching the floor, and that was simple enough for me to dominate this match. One by one, I threw opponents over the top rope while avoiding some close calls myself. In the end, it came down to me and Stone Cold Steve Austin. These two had a lot of feuds back in the early 2000s, so it was kind of poetic to have these two as the final competitors. After a little bit of effort, I laid the smackdown on the Rattlesnake and sent him over the top rope for the victory. Now, number 6 was a group of matches that will be played out in a tournament fashion, and it was called King of the Ring. Basically, 8 superstars would compete in 4 matches in the first round, and then the winners would compete in another 2 matches in round 2, with round 3 being the final match to crown the King of the Ring. I picked Triple H again in my first match, and I had to take on the hardcore legend Mankind. To be honest, Mankind didn't put up much of a fight in this one, and halfway through the match my buddy Road Dogg came down to the ring and helped me as well. I quickly hit Mankind with a pedigree and put him away for a round 1 victory. Also in round 1, Stone Cold advanced, Billy Gunn advanced, and so did the Big Red Machine Kane. Next up, I would have to yet again fight the Rattlesnake. Triple H and Stone Cold had some good feuds, especially back in 2002. Also, Stone Cold has won a King of the Ring tournament back in 1996. Anyways, this match was set up to be a good one. Early in the match, we traded lots of blows back and forth, and Billy Gunn, like Road Dogg last match, came in to give me a hand. Stone Cold got his finisher bar filled first, but right after, I got mine filled too. Now it was a race to see who could hit their finisher first for the knockout blow. Thankfully, I was able to hit the pedigree and I put Steve Austin away for the second round win. Now the final match was going to be interesting. Billy Gunn had beaten Kane, and that meant it would be 2 best friends fighting each other for the title King of the Ring. This match started in the worst way possible as we kept running into each other and I kept falling down trying to do a running move. My main man Road Dogg always has my back and came to my aid once again in this tournament. But just as quick as Road Dogg came to help me, Billy Gunn had X-Pac come down to help him. I quickly avoided his attack and hit him with a spear so he would leave the ring. Eventually, I would put Billy Gunn in a figure 4 leg lock and Billy Gunn would tap out, crowning me the King of the Ring. Match number 7 was going to be a hardcore match, and what other better superstar would be better in this situation than the hardcore legend himself, Mick Foley. And I also thought, why not whoop up on the chairman and ex-CEO Vince McMahon? So in this match, it's no disqualifications and you spawn in with a weapon in hand. I spawned in with a wooden 2x4 and Vince McMahon spawned in with a microphone. Kind of a weird weapon of choice, but I eventually took his microphone and began to beat him with it. Shortly after, The Rock made his way down to the ring and gave Vince McMahon a people's elbow. I don't know what it is with all these run-ins, but again, I couldn't complain. After putting Vince McMahon in the mandible claw, I put him to sleep and gained another victory as I inched closer and closer to completing every single match with a victory. Match number 8 brings us to an Anywhere Falls match, and this match had to be the most boring of them all. I played as the Rated R Superstar Edge for this one and randomly selected the Big Show. I had thought that you would be able to go backstage or even fight in the crowd since it was a Falls Count Anywhere match, but that wasn't the case. I tried to put the Big Show out of the ring to make a pinfall outside the ring because it was a Falls Count Anywhere match, but even when I tried that, he always just wanted to run back into the ring without me even getting an attempt. The match went on and I honestly dominated most of this match. There's no way Edge would be able to sling the Big Show around like that. Finally, I got a lucky pinfall without even doing a finisher and moved on to match number 9. Match number 9 was going to be a cage match, and it would feature Jeff Hardy, who I was, and I would be taking on the Big Red Machine Kane. At first, I had trouble figuring out how to climb the cage, because the main purpose of the cage match was to escape and land on the floor before your opponent could. Every time I would attempt to climb out, Kane would walk over and knock me down. So I did enough moves on him to get a finisher and hit him with a Swanton Bomb. When Kane was down, I walked over to the cage and figured out that I had to move the joysticks up and down to scale the cage. I made it to the top and jumped out, making it another W in match number 9. Match number 10 was a survival 4-way dance, and I was going back to Stone Cold for this one. This is the second match that I would fail if you count the first Royal Rumble match. I had never heard of a survival match and don't remember it from when I played it back in the 2000s. I thought it was going to be something like the Battle Royale where you had to eliminate everyone via pinfall and the last one standing would win, but that wasn't the case. Whoever got the first pinfall won, so it was kind of like a fatal 4-way match. Knowing that I had to face 4 competitors at the same time, I wanted to single one out and hopefully hit them with 2 finishers for a knockout victory, and that's exactly what I did. I singled out Bradshaw over everyone and tried to get him away from the other competitors. Throughout the match though, Farouk and D'Lo Brown tried super hard to beat me to it. It didn't matter though because I got lucky and made Bradshaw tap out to a lucky chokehold submission for another W. Maybe chokeholds are legal. Match 11 was a special referee match, and this was also one of the easiest matches. I chose Chris Jericho and I had to face X-Pac with Christian as a special guest referee. This match was pretty much a singles match, but something cool though was when you would hit the referee, he would get mad and try to attack you back. Yeah, take that, Christian. Me and the referee settled the beef, and I beat X-Pac handedly for the 1-2-3. Now it was time for the last match, an I Quit match, and we ended this episode just like it started. I chose Triple H and had to fight the Godfather. Basically in this match, what you had to do was beat up your opponent enough, grab a microphone, and hold it up to your opponent's face until he says he gives up. After a few attempts to get the Godfather to give up, and a run-in from Val Venus to try and ruin my completion, I told the Godfather to suck it and hit him with a pedigree to make him say those words, I quit. Finally, every match was completed, and I stand victorious for beating every match WWF SmackDown had to offer. Now let's get to the ratings. Enjoyment. I may be biased, but this game has and always will be fun to me. A WWF game during the golden days of wrestling will always be fun. The game has the superstars in their prime while also having a lot of matches to select from. I'll give it a B-. Game mechanics. The mechanics overall are pretty good. It's very simple to understand hitting moves and basic mechanics like running and grappling. There are some cons though, and one of those cons is the hitboxes sometimes don't register when doing some moves. Another thing I found annoying was sometimes when you would hit an AI with a finishing move, it's like they get right back up and don't get affected by it, which made things super hard in the tag team match and cage match. So I'll give the mechanics a C+. Overall, this game gets a C+. I just really wish there would have been a main storyline that wasn't repetitive that we could follow, and wish the mechanics were cleaned up a bit. But this game will always have a special place in my heart, and that's the bottom line because Hades said so. Remember to like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one, and remember, stay classy with the classics.